Hello everyone, my name is Teresa, the only one here from VPA, and my TEDx topic is Unlocking Human Imagination in a Digital World. Why does the future need creative thinkers? Before anything, let's jump back a few centuries. Before we had something called AI, also known as artificial intelligence, or the internet as a whole, we had something incredible called human minds, or rather, creative human minds. Ada Lovelace was the first computer programmer to write the first algorithm intended for a machine. Mozart was a master across nearly all music genres at that time, producing more than 600 works. And Leonardo da Vinci was more than just an artist or a painter. He was a sculptor, an inventor, and an engineer at the same time. Throughout his life, he had made many major discoveries and created many ahead-of-time projects. He invented a flying device way before the Wright brothers modernized it, as well as his study of a detailed study of the heart and the first depiction of a fetus in a womb. He was nearly a perfect human being. Nearly, not fully, as no one could ever be. Now, fast forward into the present. In the world we're living in, technology continues to develop and shape every single aspect of our life. Our intelligence level began to take a change. We're getting smarter, it seems, but with less imagination and creativity. An IQ score, it only measures one type of intelligence. It doesn't reflect on emotion, curiosity, or even purpose. IQ tests often test you on the knowledge and information that you learn at school. But Leonardo da Vinci never went to school. He was homeschooled. However, just because of his lack of knowledge and information that school taught, that doesn't mean that he's not smart. Through his creativity and imagination, he was able to make a lot of discoveries and lasting impact on humanity up until this very day. Now, you may be wondering, why am I telling you all these facts? It doesn't have anything in common. In reality, it does. These are proofs on why we need creative thinkers in the future. Not want, but need. We need creative thinkers to transform education by allowing students to share their ideas and embrace diversity in thinking, as well as fostering innovation and critical problem-solving skills, which are essential in the 21st century. Secondly, we need creative thinkers to reduce the long time span between major world events up to 100 years or less. Just imagine if we could actually do that. Right now, we'll be living in a completely different world, as you can see here. And lastly, we need creative thinkers to help prevent humanity from stepping on the beaten path, as well as laying the foundation for the next human generation. But what is creativity, and why can AI do it for us? Creativity, according to Oxford Dictionary, means the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. AI can analyze information, create images, or in this case, write a story about a caterpillar reunited with its family, and then transfer it into a song with just a click of a button. However, when asked to really create something original, something creative, AI seems somewhat stuck. According to Margaret Bowden, there are 3 types of creativity: combinational, exploratory, and transformational creativity. Transformational creativity means to actually be able to create something original, something that exists beyond existing structures and styles, something that no one had ever thought of before. And this is when the usage of AI came to a complete stop. Nowadays, AI works best with a human companion, whereas it can work alone. That is proof on why we need creative thinkers in the future, because despite how good AI is right now, it can never really be creative. 1. Creativity allows us to look at problems and obstacles, not like a huge burden, but allow us to look at them through different perspectives. Look at this as an example. 2 guys are looking at the exact same number. One says number 9, and the other says number 6. Technically speaking, they're both right. However, they both argue that the other one is wrong. Whereas, if there were to be a creative thinker in this case, he or she will be able to look at this number in both ways, a 9 or a 6, because they are not constrained by their perspective, their closed mindset, nor the position they're standing in. In addition, that is why creative thinkers are so crucial in solving major world problems like droughts, global warming, and deforestation, because they can view the world in novel angles and not constrained by past methods. 2. Creative thinkers could help to improve educational standards by moving teaching beyond rote memorization to actually encouraging kids to experiment, to learn and explore new things, and adapt a mindset of endless studying and the wants to continue learning new things. Lastly, creative thinkers are better off to adapt to different circumstances because they can navigate through uncertainty and overcome unexpected setbacks, unlike others who often do things in the same old way and doesn't try to think of a smarter, more creative way to solve the problem. Now, after you have realized and truly understand the importance of creative thinkers in the future, I'm pretty sure that many of us sitting here would love to be one. So how do you actually be more creative? It is true that some people are indeed born with a relatively creative genetic makeup in their body, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Mozart, or Ada Lovelace, people who I have given an example of before. However, we could actually be one through maintaining the right habits, through discipline, and the right usage of technology. 1. Embrace curiosity. Ask questions. Explore new ideas, new actions, new activities outside your comfort zone. For example, try something new every once in a while, like knitting or baking or cooking, if you're not familiar with it yet. Because like Albert Einstein once said, a ship is always safe at shore, but that is not what it is built for. Secondly, seek constant development, seek constant improvement. Adopt a mindset of endless learning because life is full of endless information and knowledge that simply school couldn't taught all. 3. Surround yourself with inspirations. You could simply read a book or listen to music at home, or you could go out to nature or book a ticket to the nearest museum and venture in a world of creativity, history, arts, and culture. 4. Make it a habit. Get into the habit of drawing, painting, or doodling. It doesn't have to be good, but you have to trust what you're doing. Trust the process and do what you love. 5. Create opportunities. It is true that many times opportunities come like a chance suddenly pop up in your life. But in many cases, you could actually create your own opportunities by direct actions, such as this case, carry a notebook and art supplies or a pen everywhere you go, because inspirations often spark at very odd moments. These small inspirations could soon turn into a big result over time. Now that we have realized and really understand everything about the creativity and imagination and the importance of creative thinkers in the future, we would really understand that creativity is the main reason, the primary reason that we've been able to build such vast, complex, and modern societies and systems around us. Every main world development, the medicine, the internet, artificial intelligence, or electricity, all started with a creative person asking the question, can the world work differently? Thank you.